Section 8.2, using StatCrunch. We're going to work this problem number 32. In a survey of 3,005 adults aged 57 through 85 years, it was found that 81.7% of them used at least one prescription medication. Use a 0.01 significance level to test the claim that more than 3/4 of the adults use at least one prescription medication. Does the rate of prescription use among adults appear to be high? First, we need to check the requirements, and remember we have 3 requirements to check when we're working with a proportion. This is a random sample. There's a fixed number of independent trials, 3,005, with 2 categories. Subject takes at least one prescription medication, or subject does not take at least one prescription medication. We want to check the sample size requirements. Since we're testing the claim that more than 3/4 or 75% of adults use at least one prescription medication, we will use P equal to 0.75. So Q equals 1 minus P equals 1 minus 0.75 equals 0.25. NP is 3,005 multiplied by 0.75, which equals 2253.75, which is greater than or equal to 5. And Q equals 3,005 times 0.25, which is equal to 751.25, which is greater than or equal to 5. So the requirements are checked. The steps for the hypothesis test. Step 1, the claim that after treatment, quote, more than 3/4 of adults use at least one prescription medication is written as P greater than 0.75. Should not say here after treatment. It should just be the claim that more than 3/4 of adults use at least one prescription medication. The alternative to the original claim is written as P less than or equal to 0.75. Since the claim P greater than 0.75 does not contain a step of equality, it becomes the alternative hypothesis H1. So our hypotheses are the null hypothesis H0, P equal 0.75, the alternative hypothesis and claim H1, P greater than 0.75. The significance level, we will use 0.01. Since we're testing a claim about a population proportion, the sample statistic p hat will be used. The sample distribution of sample proportions p hat can be approximated by a normal distribution. We will use StatCrunch to find the test statistic and the p-value. We do need the number of successes in the sample, and if you remember, there are 3,005 adults. 81.7% said they take at least one prescription medication, so the number of successes in the sample is 2455.085. So we're going to go to StatCrunch, and I'm going to put this to the side so you can see the numbers. And we're going to go to Stat, Proportion Stat, one sample with summary. And again, we needed those successes, which is 2455.085. The number of observations was the sample size, 3,005. We're doing a hypothesis test, P equal to 0.75. The alternative was greater than 0.75, and we're going to compute. And so here we have our test statistic is 8.48 with a very small p-value, p less than 0.0001. So do we reject or fail to reject? We're going to reject the null, and we're going to conclude that, in fact, the proportion of adults taking at least one prescription medication is indeed, we have sufficient evidence to say it is greater than 75%. An interpretation, and the question, one of the questions that was asked of us is, does this seem to be an unusually high rate of prescription use among adults? And it does. We had expected it to be at 75% when in fact it was actually in this sample at 81.7%. We can go ahead and click on options here and edit and go ahead and calculate the confidence interval, and I'm doing, we were testing at 0.01, so I'm going to do a 98% confidence interval. And so I'm 98% confident that the true proportion of adults using at least one prescription medication goes from 80.1% up to 83.3%. And we notice that this confidence interval does not include 75%, which agrees with our decision to reject the null hypothesis.